Mother-Daughter-Duopodcast.
Hello, I am your host, Danielle Perkins of the Mother-Daughter Duo podcast.
I'm Jean Perkins, the co-host of the Mother-Daughter Duo podcast.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to open with a mommy moment. This is when we share our mommy moments of the week, something hopefully outside of your grandchild, because you use the same thing every week, but something that something that you did for you. How about that? My nails are shot. I need to do something for me. So if you see them, it is what it is.
Well, I'm going to do something for myself today. I'm going to go get my hair lined up. I'm going to go get my nails and my feet done. You know, I do a motivational video every day where I'm encouraging women to come on, girl, get up. And I'm encouraging them to get up out of their depression, their anxiety, their all of their mental health issues, their sadness, their self-esteem issues. Get up out of that. Try to do something for yourself. So I encourage them today. It's your day off. It's a Saturday. If you don't have to work, go do something for yourself. Go get your nails done. Pamper yourself. So when I have the financial means to do that, I try to do that for myself.
Very, very cute. I would say my mother moment for this week, I'm in my nesting phase. I will go into surgery on Tuesday. Today is a Saturday. And so completely gutting out my room, getting rid of old things. And I exhausted myself the past few days. I did a little too much. But yeah, that was my mommy moment, just going through my nesting stages. Hashtag SFT, our shirt for today. Remember that you can support us by sharing, commenting, but also by buying merch. And we'll have links as to where you can purchase your merch provided below or within the description. And Mother May I, how about that?
Okay.
Mother May I, again, we take questions from audience members, viewers, listeners. And we tried our best to give our advice. And it's not always the sweetest answer. But again, we're very transparent. We're very real and honest. And we want to see young women and men do well. And so we're going to give you advice from the heart. This is 22 dumped and pregnant. Well, let me make sure, because I feel like we just said something like this.
Lord have mercy.
I'm noticing a theme. A lot of insomnia here. 3 days ago at 10 weeks, I found out the father of my child was cheating on me. I was looking to see if she said how long they've been together. A lot of insomnia here. 3 days ago at 10 weeks, I found out the father of my child was cheating on me. Then he left with the person he cheated with and blocked me after getting caught. My baby was very much planned, and this all started with issues that sprung about last week, and everything between us ended quickly. I've been depressed, unable to sleep, just watching TV, trying to take my mind off of things. The only thing that keeps me going is my baby, though I'm a first-time mommy, and I'm not sure what's next of me. I still keep going. I'm very depressed, trying not to project onto the baby. Now, that's very unfortunate. The last statement that, oh man, I just wish that we were a little better. Sometimes we can be so emotional, and that's, we are emotional beings, but to know that experience may cause someone to project on the baby. This seems unfortunate, but it's a real reaction.
It kind of happens more than we know. We read these. You're part of that, that community where you probably see those type of messages every day, and young women wanting to know what to do. And it is so unfortunate that I can't even talk about that part and put it together. But it's unfortunate that she is now, she was with someone and, she's pregnant now. and that person has left and he's moved on. And so the only thing that I would advise this young lady to do is just, and I heard her say that she is depressed. And depression is a real thing. And so I would encourage her to seek mental health treatment. And so she's able to speak with someone that can help her with her thoughts, that can help her with whatever triggers she might have. Because she will, from this point on, she might struggle with that until the child is born, and then thereafter. When you think about all that's going to be entailed, and now you being a single mom. But be encouraged. Know that listen, there's a lot of women that have already come before you, probably even younger, that have succeeded in being a single mom. And if they can do it, you can too. Some did it with less resources. Some do it with a lot of resources. Like a lot of people have a village. I hope you do have a village, but if you don't, seek help from your local church if you're involved in a church. If not, I would encourage you to join one, not just for the feeling of having a village, right? Not just for that, but people that can be positive and encourage you and uplift you. And if that church does not do that, don't discount the church at all, right? Or Christianity or religion. There's some agency or a church or a Christian person that can speak into your life and will not demonize you for being a single mom. So I just want to encourage you in that. There is you can gain strength from the situation that you're in. I did it, and you can do it. Don't let your circumstances make you feel like you can't do it, because you can do it.
Okay. I don't necessarily have any advice I want to add. I just echo everything that you said.
I think if this is going out in the airways, we got to be selective in the people that we are with.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but I didn't want to touch on that, because it's true also that you can feel like you have had all the conversations in the world,
that's
and
true.
Still they'll surprise you.
Yeah, so that's true.
You can never be too prepared, and we don't know. So
yeah,
I didn't want to go that route.
Yeah, I mean, but still, even in relationship, me at 60, and the two that were relationships that were devastating with me, and they said all the right things and did all the right things, and
he
ended up being cuckoo.
Yeah.
So you never know. You never know.
He literally met us. We grilled him, asked him we were the adult children grilling him about what he saw in my mom and why he wanted to be married, and he had all the right answers.
All the right answers.
Took us out
Shook
to
your
eat
hands,
and everything.
Did all of that.
In order to have
look me in my eye. Look, had Bruce look him in his eye. I won't do nothing. I won't hurt your mom, And
it just didn't make sense. As old as he is, this was recently.
Okay, come
on. So this week I want to talk about, because I've been seeing a lot of conversation surrounding this specific topic, submission. I watch 2 podcasts. One is called Lovers and Friends, and she is a sexologist, Shan Boudrim, and another one called The Cruise Season. It's a group of young men, about 4 panelists on the podcast, and they kind of talk from the male perspective. But they were both platforms were speaking on this young lady who is dating Cam Newton. You know who that is? And one of the things that she said that is now trending on social media is that she submits to her man, and Shan asked him, she was the initial interview. That was the initial interview and interviewer and interviewee. Shan Boudrim and this young lady named Jazzy. And they were talking about the relationship Jazzy has with Cam Newton. And Shan was asking, what does submission look like? And Jazzy says, basically, anything my man wants, I do it. I try to think ahead of him, and I just try to make sure that he doesn't have to basically lift a finger. I try to be a few steps ahead to make sure that I'm covering all bases, make sure he's fully comfortable, make sure he has everything he needs. And so obviously there are a lot of people on social media that have raving opinions about both sides. Most men usually are in favor of what Jazzy says, and most women are usually like, okay, but what is he doing for you? That's what I've been seeing. You were raised by your grandparents, up until about 10 years old. And I would say that probably during those times, it was very different of what submission looked like. It was easier to submit to a man at that stage. Did you see a lot of that? Your grandparents.
So I was raised by my grandparents.
Your grandfather was the man of the house. He was the breadwinner.
Well, at that time, they weren't working. My grandfather had worked in a coal mine, so he was retired when they were raising me. But I also grew up around all of my aunts and uncles, and we're talking about in the 60s and in the 70s. So I think we've taken submission out of context, and a lot of people think...
Well, first, just start off with what you saw growing up, if you don't mind.
So what I saw is just... people working together, right? But the man, when they say submission, they mean a man just being the head of the household, and that letting that man take the lead in these big decisions that need to be made for the family.
Yeah, that's not what they mean these days.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's what they mean, but people are taking it out of context and thinking that submission is you go over there and you sit down. Submission is dimming your light and letting him shine. That's the context that people think. And there might be some men that think like that. So I've watched some reality shows with Cam Newton. Cam Newton, first of all, he's a professional football player, so he brings in income. Jazzy probably is the young lady that has...
I wanted you to get more foundational before we kind of...
But what I was going to say is like Cam Newton does a lot around the house that people don't see. So they're... the negative comments that she's getting is people just don't know what their relationship is like. But I think submission is just allowing my husband to lead when it comes to decisions about our home life, decisions about, big decisions about purchasing a home, or sitting down with our children and listening to some of the things that our children are going, parenting our children, letting the husband lead in that. We definitely have discussion about it, but I'm submitting to his
will.
I don't think it's the will. I don't know. I wouldn't say... I'm definitely not trying to be the lead over my man. And a lot of women want to take the lead over their man in some areas. So women want to be puffed up. Well, I don't want to say that because people going to get negative connotation out of that or think. But
I will tell you, I struggle with this. I remember as a protege to someone you know very well, last name McMath.
Okay.
We had a conversation about this when I was kind of following him around, and he was mentoring me. But he said that it's something I'm grappling with currently, but it is something I'm obviously going to need to have a strong stance on. But I'll tell you the reason why I grapple with it could be because I have not seen any examples. Mm-hmm. But also the examples that I do see, and I have not had any bitter situations in relationships. I don't carry a lot of that energy, but it's very difficult to submit to a person if, to me, they just come off as the weaker vessel. And
we didn't get around to that, but yeah.
That's why I said I wanted you to lead to more foundational stuff. But to me, weaker vessel is anyone that will make some decisions that will break up the household, meaning cheating, meaning leaving, very trivial, thinking very small, not seeing the big picture. So that's the strong reason why I have a difficult time agreeing with this idea of submission. Also, I think a lot of young women that are just in relationships should not just be submitting to every boyfriend that they're dating.
That's right. That's true. Yeah.
We just, like for me, I've had a lot of different boyfriends. It hasn't just been like me trying to, they have not always been successful relationships, although that's the idea. They're not always successful. Do I need to be submitting to each one of those individuals, or should it just be submission in a engagement or a husband and wife situation? And then if you're not submitting in a relationship, how will they know that you are wife material or husband material?
I mean, you made some really good points and valid points. I think submit, as I said earlier, and I probably wasn't doing very good at describing it, and you were saying get some foundation to it, but I just think when we're talking about a woman submitting to a man, we're talking about a woman allowing her husband to lead in decisions for their entire household. And I would think that it, as you said, it would be I would want that when I am in a marriage, because you can't let everybody lead you, and then everybody doesn't have the characteristics to be a leader in the home when they make poor decisions, as you said. Cheating, not good with money. Who wants to submit to a man that continues to lay around with other women when he has a woman at home? So those are the kind of things. Who wants to submit to a man that doesn't work? Being a leader in your home means you take on the responsibility of your homes, that you work, that you bring income into the home. Doesn't mean you have to be the whole financier of the home, like you would have the help of your significant other, your wife, but overall you would lead your family, and it would be hopeful that you would lead them in positive directions, right? You're moving forward, you're making wise decisions about finances and things that are for the future of your family, building a legacy for your family, an inheritance for your family. So when you're talking about submission, that's what you would hope that individual brings and adds to the life of your overall of your entire family. But you wouldn't want it to be you dating Johnny, and you and Johnny together for 5 months, and you submit to Johnny, and then y'all don't work out, and then you start dating Tommy, and Tommy is you submitting to Tommy for 6 months. No, what? No. That's
So what in a relationship, what should you do to
you should have, you at least should see some qualities of somebody that you think that you're going to be in a relationship with for long term, right? And that you just sit and you kind of watch and see the decisions they make, how they lead their home. I mean, some of the decisions that they make financially and stuff like that. Have conversations before you decide that you want to submit to somebody. And somebody that's been single for a long time and end up in a relationship, it's hard to submit. It's hard to be in a relationship where you allow somebody to take the lead because you've been doing it so long.
I also think that when I said the word submission has evolved and what that looks like, because I think the modernized version of submission is women doing a lot for the man of the house, exactly what she described.
That's a desire, I would think, of every woman. It's something that is built in them. It is in their DNA. You haven't gotten that yet, but I
don't think that's the desire of every woman.
I think a woman wants
doing
to do
everything for the
she
partner?
wants to do it. It's called love. Mm-mm. And a woman would want to do that for her man. I believe it.
I don't think so. I think women...
You just ain't got there yet.
No, not me. I'm just listening to the women when they talk. They're like, we are exhausted. You need to pick up your laundry Okay?
Well, I'm not necessarily talking
That's
about
what
that.
I mean.
Well, yeah,
The
no,
serving
I'm not
part.
talking about that. But
The
but
modernized
what
version.
women are built to want to love, and what their love looks like is taken care of. That's what our love looks like, and we want to just kind of show our man that we love them so much that these are the things that we'll do for them, right? And
I don't
like the
know.
young woman named Jazz, he said, she just wants to make sure that he has everything. Now, maybe I think that she does it. I
Part of me thinks
the,
that if because the caliber of man that Cam Newton is, he's a football player, well, ex-football player with a lot of money. I don't even know if he's ex. He hasn't been fully retired yet.
yeah,
Still
he
conversation
has
about
a
it.
right.
But I think the caliber of the man that he is, most women will try to give you their representative up front by trying to do everything that
Yeah,
they
so
can
that
to
they won't leave.
solidify their spot. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's what she does. You said it perfectly, and I think that's why she does everything that she does to try to
But
solidify
it's
herself.
very difficult for especially women that are the breadwinners. Some women do, but hearing women talk now, we're not going to be the breadwinner and you sitting on the couch and we come home still serving you. It has to be a two-way street, 100, or 50-50 is what people say. But
I've always been the type of woman that just loves to love on and care for the individual I'm in a relationship with. So I like to,
you
make
like
sure
to
I make
serve
the.
in
I like
every
to
sense of the
serve.
word.
I like to serve. That's a part of my personality. But there's no serving when you don't deserve the serve. Yeah, and we could go into a
That
lot
should
of
be a shirt.
different directions.
No
Yeah.
serving when you don't deserve the serve.
Yeah, that should be a shirt. Don't y'all take that, because we said it on this podcast, and I will see it and sue you. Yeah, I ain't gonna serve. It's hard for a woman to lay up with a man, and he not bringing nothing to the table, not at all. No,
And it doesn't have to be financially, but like,
right.
and I a gentleman that on the cruise season, he made a good point because he said there's no such thing as submitting to a man, but it's submission to one another. Now, I think that
That's good.
yeah, I think that was a very good point. We're both bringing something to the table. It's not that there's reciprocity, there's give and take.
Yes.
And like you said, I think, what did you say earlier on that, basically along the same lines, though, that it's give and take. We're both it's an exchange. You have value that you bring to the table, and I have value that I bring to the table, and we're both pouring into one another.
Right.
There is not
Respecting
just
one another.
one serving one. And like I said, I think submission has changed over the years. And before, another thing that I had an issue with is women did a better job back in the day of being submissive, even when the man was out. Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. That was in the 50s. And yeah, women, I don't think there was a lot of careers for women.
So they didn't have
so
much
they
of a
stayed
choice.
home, right. And they didn't have much of a choice. But now, women have a plethora of careers that they're involved in. And so, yeah.
Well, rounding it out, submission, we don't have all of the answers, but if you are going to submit to someone, what would you say your final advice would be? If you are courting someone, like you said, you want to vet that person.
Well, someone's courting me. I'm not courting them. They're courting me.
If you guys are in a courtship, and not you, give advice. You're giving advice to a young adult woman.
I would just say
to avoid situations like the mommy moment that we talked about.
Oh, well, but you said it too earlier when you said, a person can say all of the right things and you believe it, and then they turn around and do something else, be somebody else. So you really don't know. I would just say, always be aware, use your wisdom and discernment in any relationship that you're in. and talk and communicate, have conversation. And it still might not help. This still might do something outlandish that you're not used to. But just be, I just would think be conscious.
When it comes to courting, dating, and submitting.
Yeah. Just be aware. Be wise. Yeah. I don't have the best answers.
Like for me, who was dating multiple different men, how should I avoid, you said it, making sure I'm vetting the person properly before I'm just giving that part of myself. And I think also making sure that it's a reciprocated thing, making sure that if I'm submitting to someone and giving them a lot of myself, that they're giving some, part of themselves as well to the relationship.
Yeah, well, and you need, and then I want to say too, sometimes physical attraction gets in the way of our decision making. And so just because you are physically attracted to you have to be careful that you don't fall victim to that first before you vet the person and their character. You need to really learn and study that person's character to see how they are, and still you can be bamboozled.
Okay, leave it at something. Leave it at something concrete.
But just don't let your physical emotions get in the way of you thinking logically about this relationship that you're in.
Okay. Do what you do, girl. God bless you. Stay strong.
Peace.
Mother Daughter Duo Podcast.